This is episode 22 with Steven Selikoff.
So let's go, I follow, wherever you go, 'cause
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Inventions show where entrepreneurs, influencers and authorities in their field today share their story of triumphs and challenges in both life and business. My name is Tacklee and the host of this show. Now, today, I'm honored to have a very special guest and excited to be speaking with the one and only Steven Selikoff, founder of Product Development Academy, a master whose products have been sold online, in catalogs, in retailers, and have been featured in the likes of The Today Show, Forbes, Paris Vogue, Good Morning America, and even in the gift bags at the Oscars. Simply mind-changing, life-changing, and business-changing. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Steven, and thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. I am delighted, and as we were saying, I can't wait to be together in person, but until then, this is how we do it, and it's wonderful to be with you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, the first thing I'd like to ask all my guests, Steven, for those who are not too familiar with yourself is, can you please give us a window into your background and what was your first job?
Oh my goodness. I started working as a teenager, but probably the first job that applies to this was in 1973. There was a TV show called Star Trek, and
yes.
they had conventions. Now my mom went to college with a woman who was a big fan. She put on the very first Star Trek convention. It's the grandfather of all the Comic-Cons and sci-fi cons and everything these days. And I went there. I went the second year, and I came back this time with a bunch of photographs. So the wife of the producer, Gene Roddenberry's wife, had a little side job where she was selling film right off of the editing room floor, and a bunch of our fans would buy it. So I would get the pieces of film from the editing room floor, blow it up into really nice prints, frame them, and sell them at the convention at 13 years old, and I was making a lot of money.
Wow.
And of course, the same business principles apply now. So I only had to purchase that bit of film once, and I could make as many photographs as I wanted. So it was really a great business model, and I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with being an entrepreneur. Luckily, my older brother was with me, who was a fabulous salesman. He taught me all about sales, and I got the fire, and the fire continues burning to today.
Awesome. 13 years old. Wow. Now, just through my research and reading up on yourself, Steven, I mean, you've had an interesting journey, from when you started till now, from a fashion photographer to, even a business manager at Microsoft. How did your passion for startups begin, and in particular in the product space?
I started selling products to retailers back in 2001, and it was accident. Actually, a wonderful woman had introduced me to it. I started a strange hobby, glass blowing, with a pipe and glass and the rest of it. And they, as an exercise, we would make these little hollow balls that you could hang on a Christmas tree or whatever and bring color into them. So this woman and I were outside of Seattle, where I live, in a place where there's a lot of lavender gardens and lavender fields. And she started chatting with the owner of one of these stores. And my friend was a buyer for a major chain, so she knew all about retail.
Okay.
And the next thing I knew, she had made an arrangement for me to sell all the little balls I was making as exercises in colors of lavender. And I said, wow, what is this? And she taught me all about what retailers need. She taught me about keystoning, pricing, customer appeal, and so on, packaging even. And so we started packaging these up and ended up supplying, I think it was 7 or 8 different gift stores. And it was covering all of the costs of my glass blowing lessons and more. I was like, wow, this is great. And that stuck with me. And you start looking at things and seeing things as products and as something that customers want to reach into their pocket and pay for. and that was a fabulous insight. So
Yeah.
a couple of years later, I started with a few different products. Some were failures, some were a success, and by 2005, I started sourcing them from China, and
Mm.
2006 got into Amazon FBA, which at the time only meant fulfillment. It didn't mean any of the business stuff we hear about today.
Yeah.
But if you can go back and find my unique identifier, I'm probably very low down because I had joined up within weeks of it being announced. And
Awesome.
back then, they gave you a website that was, you had certain colors. So I changed the colors of my packaging to match the color of the Amazon FBA website. Very, very primitive to what it was today. But I loved it. I love the idea of creating something that somebody finds so much
Hmm.
value in that
Yep.
they're going to pay for it. That's
Yes.
fabulous.
Yes. Yes. Totally awesome. Totally awesome. Which sort of leads me to my next question, Stephen. Product Development Academy. Totally how you focus on product-based entrepreneurs there. Now, can you please share with our audience what the Product Academy is all about and your goals there?
So the Product Development Academy um, basically helps people right from the concept through the design, the development, the manufacturing, the marketing of products, all with the goal of omni-channel sales. That means selling in stores, online, hybrid e-commerce, as seen on TV, every channel there is, so that you have a product that customers want and
Yep.
that you can sell wherever customers want to buy it. So it's way
Okay.
beyond just Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And the secret tack is when you're selling to retailers, it's actually a lot easier than Amazon as well. So
Okay, there you go. That's a hot tip for the audience. So, in the world of online shopping, you sort of mentioned a bit earlier, which is basically led by Amazon at the moment. Where do you see retail going? And can you provide some insights there with regards to retail and, well, e-com?
absolutely. Um, so e-commerce, and I can talk stronger about the United States. E-commerce is strong and has gotten a lot stronger during COVID, but it's still just a small amount of the entire retail world. I think a
Okay.
lot of Amazon sellers were shocked when Jeff Bezos testified in front of Congress and had said that Amazon's only 4% of retail. It's
Oh,
not 60,
okay.
70% like a lot of people talk about. And
Mm-hmm.
then during COVID, it has grown to I think it's 5.6, 5.7%.
Yeah.
However, e-commerce itself grew to 150% of where it was before. So that means Amazon should have grown to around 6%. It
Yep.
didn't grow as fast as the rest of e-commerce, and that's because there are so many other exciting opportunities growing in e-commerce. When you have big box stores here in the US, maybe Walmart or Home Depot, which would be like Bunnings in
Oh,
Australia,
yep.
or
Mm-hmm.
similar ones around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, people can pick up their phone, look at their online catalog, choose something, and then drive over the store and have it brought right out to the car.
Yes.
That is brilliant. It's curbside delivery.
Mm-hmm.
As a business, these retailers love it because it doesn't cost them any more. They already have their employees. They just say, hey, Joe, pick this up and bring it out to the purple
Yeah.
car. They do that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to worry about that last mile delivery that Amazon has to take on the cost of. So it actually allows them to start competing more. Um,
Okay.
but where is this going to happen in the future? What's going to happen in the future as we come out of COVID? Um, there are some trends that have been pointed out. Nielsen Consumer Research, which is just a research firm, they've come up with some interesting trends. During COVID, there's been a shift where most of the um, uh, most of the purchases online have been driven by need and desire. And now that's changed to most of the purchases online are being driven by cost. So people online
Okay.
are spending more time looking for lower cost items. All of the folks who are building up money, who are not constrained, they call them constrained consumers, constrained shoppers, are not constrained by risks to their income and so on. They are literally hungry to buy things. They're not able to spend money on travel. They're not able to spend money on groups and gatherings and celebrations. They are hungry to buy things. And they're the ones that are still going out to retailers when it's possible. And as soon as COVID is over, as we look towards the future there, they're really going to be driving a lot of the consumer spending because they've got pockets waiting with money to spend. I think those who have had their income threatened by COVID and continue to have it threatened by COVID, they're still going to be making purchases driven by price, which means they're still going to be looking online more often. And Nielsen has shown that they've increased the amount of time they spend online looking for good prices by 27%. Then you throw into the mix all of this new things happening from retailers. And I think their future is going to look like Amazon Plus, Walmart, Amazon Plus, Home Depot, Amazon Plus, other retailers. People have broken out of that mold of thinking only Amazon. There's a lot of other people that have never shopped online that are now thinking Amazon for the first time. And I think when it comes to retail stores, they're still going to be the big gorilla of retail. We have something really strange here in the United States. People call it retail therapy. People actually feel good going out and buying things. Kids, teenagers, they get together with their friends and they're saying, we're going to go out to the mall and we're going to buy stuff. And they wander through and they'll pick something up from this store or that store, or they'll go to Walmart and stuff like that. All of that social aspect is going to come back into buying. And those are things that I think that's going to see where you drive. There's going to be more social buying in actual stores. There's going to be more searches for low-cost items online, and there's going to be more competitors to Amazon in that online space.
Okay, interesting. So am I right to say that there is still like big bucks or big money to be made in retail?
Absolutely. Matthew McConaughey, big movie star. George Clooney, big movie star. They started alcohol brands. Where do they launch their brands? In retail, not online. The major money is still in retail. And in fact, for everyone who's familiar with sales, and they have the concept of the sales funnel, Amazon and other online platforms, they're at the bottom. You already know what you are buying. You might think, okay, I'm going to go out and buy a teacup. And then 2 hours later, you think, oh, I need a saucer. And you go back out for that. Go into a retail store, a large retail store, and you grab that shopping cart. Everything in that store environment is all about you putting more into that shopping cart than you came in with.
That is so true, yes.
You could have a written list tag. You could have it in your head. But the moment you grab that cart, you know you're going to put in the width of the aisles, the lighting, the sound, the fragrance in some department stores. They want you to see something and say, ooh, I need that. I didn't know that existed. Look at this. And you put it into the cart. Even the packaging, and we talk a lot about packaging in Product Development Academy, even the packaging drives you put it in the cart. And these are things you did not know that you needed. So they're not at the bottom of the funnel, they're at the top of the funnel. And then, if I may, my favorite, which are small stores, independent retailers, specialty stores. When someone walks into those, they walk up and down every single aisle. They're looking, they want to buy something. They're looking for something that they haven't seen. I was visiting a friend in Florida last week and walked into a store, and it's got such incredible crap that nobody needs. I mean, just horrible stuff. Shot glasses that say, I love Florida. A little glass thing filled with sand. Seashells that when you pick it up, the seashells are actually plastic. They're not even seashells. And it's filled with these things, obnoxious T-shirts. And yet, I felt compelled. I had to get something because
Hmm.
I'm in there and I'm looking. And I finally got myself and a friend a cap that says Fort Lauderdale. It's like, why? I don't need it. But when you go into small stores, you're
Yeah.
looking for something that you wouldn't get someplace else. You're looking for something new. And when a product
Hmm.
developer creates something that new that
Yeah.
people haven't seen before,
Yeah.
that's where the sales can really take off,
Mm.
because that's where the customers are going in saying, I want something that no one else has. I want to tell my
Yeah.
friends about it. I want to put it
Yeah.
online. And that's just magic.
It is. It's very interesting what you just said there, where when you go there, although you don't plan on buying anything, but then you still grab something. That's just totally
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this sort of I want to touch on, your decades of experience, Stephen, in the space and product validation. A lot of people fall in love with their idea, but I guess the end game is if it's going to make you money. So, what's the best way, and what do you advise your students about, validating their ideas before they go, okay, I'm going to pump X amount of money into it?
So, the number one way of validating ideas is from real customers. You want to
Yeah.
get real customer feedback.
Mhm.
Um, Drew Houston had a great idea called Dropbox. And I've been lucky that being up here in Seattle and my business mentors worked with him. So I
Mhm.
was actually able to meet Drew one time. And when he came up with Dropbox, he knew it was a good idea. His
Mhm.
developers knew it was a good idea, but nobody else really understood it was or didn't understand if it was a good idea. So he created a website where there was a little animation and explained about saving your files online. And it says, come here, sign up. And he put that website online. And literally overnight, he had thousands of people signing up. And when it got to the point of putting in their credit card, he just simply said, we're not ready to take orders yet. Leave your email and we'll let you know.
Mhm.
Thousands of people signed up, real live people. Now, I mean, I could come up with an idea that I think is fabulous. The old Steve Martin joke about a fur-lined sink. Well, I have a
Mhm.
dog, so I know how I have fur-lined everything. But a fur-lined sink. Oh, I'm going to make a fur-lined sink, and nobody would want it. So I have to face the reality of saying, as much as I love the idea,
Mhm.
if customers don't want it, it's not worth pursuing. And in fact, that's one of the cornerstones we do in
Mm.
our program is you've got to make sure customers want your product. If
Yes.
they don't, it's wonderful, it's fun, but we're all here to make money too.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. So for our listeners out there, Stephen, and those who are thinking about getting into the product-based business, what would you say, or advise your top three tips?
Okay, top three tips. Um, well, it seems like I'm quoting all sorts of people. Jeffrey Gitomer,
I love it,
the
love it. Keep going.
motivational sales guy. They asked him what makes a successful product, and he said, differentiate, differentiate, and differentiate. So
Yeah, yeah.
I could sit on that, but I'm going to bring it back to what you and I just talked about. I'll say differentiate, but make sure it's something customers want to buy
Hmm.
and that it's profitable enough to make money. So there you go. Differentiate,
Excellent,
customer
excellent.
demand,
Yep.
profitability.
Excellent. Cool, cool. Now I just want to move onto your journey as an entrepreneur, Stephen. And as all entrepreneurs know it can sometimes be a lonely journey. So
Oh
how
yeah.
do you manage risk and fear?
Oh, let me grab this. Hold on.
Okay, cool.
So this sits on my desk. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not.
Oh yes, being afraid of things going wrong isn't the way to make things go right. Never let fear decide your future. Woo!
Absolutely. And I look at that again and again. What we do is scary. As entrepreneurs, we take a chance on so many things. Not
Mm,
everyone's cut out to be an entrepreneur. As you had mentioned, I worked at Microsoft. I have a lot of friends who've grown and moved up in Microsoft, who have moved up going on to Amazon and to Boeing and Alaska Airlines and so on. And they're doing at this point in their careers, doing very, very well, even at the executive level. And I look at it and I say, oh, those poor guys, they're stuck, they're stagnant. When you're an entrepreneur, you are in control of everything.
Yeah.
But I also know that they're afraid of taking that step. They like that paycheck. Someone, I don't remember who, said that a paycheck is a drug that keeps you from becoming an entrepreneur. So yeah, it is scary, it's fearful, but being afraid and not doing anything, that's not the way to make it right. Being afraid and moving forward and strategizing and making a plan, that's the way to respond. And that takes courage. And kudos to every single person that's watching this, because we all know that it's scary, it's lonely, and we still do it. So we are a magical bunch.
Powerful words, Steven. Now, so can you please share with our listeners your biggest area of growth in both life and business?
So personal story. About a year and a half ago, I had a heart attack, and scary thing. Woke up the next morning after they put a stent in and all this stuff, and I was happy. I realized how lucky I am to be doing what I do, because I'm ready to get out of the hospital, and I'm looking forward to, at the time we were having a bunch of students that we were about to take to China, and like, that's the best thing ever. I can't wait. A couple of days later, we had a class on a Thursday. I cannot imagine, Tack. There are people, thousands of people having heart attacks all the time, thousands of incredible doctors doing amazing things. But how do you wake up that next day and you think, oh, I've got to get back to work because my boss wants me to answer emails, or I've got to go to this meeting, or I've got sales calls, or I've got boxes to throw, or I've got a truck to drive, and I hate it. How do you do that? I realized how lucky I am. I create products, and all of my products have a sense of humor, and I have students that I'm helping them create products. So gratitude, just gratitude for how lucky I am to be doing what I am, how lucky I am to enjoy every single day, and how lucky I am that I made it through a heart attack with great doctors and stuff like that. So absolutely gratitude. Number one most impactful moment in my life, business-wise and personally.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, it's definitely something we all should feel more gratitude. And if you could go back, in time, Steven, to your 18-year-old self, or even younger, coach him, what would you tell him?
I would say, appreciate your hair while you still have it.
I did see a photo of you, Steven, when you had hair. Whoa, that's impressive.
I had gorgeous hair. I think I used up my quota of hair early on, and then it went away.
Awesome.
I think that probably the best advice I would give to myself, looking over my life, is don't let failure beat yourself up. We all fail. If you don't fail, it means you've never taken a chance on something.
Yes, true.
And I think that as I got older, I realized that failure is something that I can draw on. I wrote a book about product development, and it's a big book. And probably at least half of the stories that I share in there are about things that I've failed at, but lessons that I've learned. So I would say number one is when I was younger, is I would fail, and I would let failure beat me down. And it's hard sometimes to stand up. But if you've tried something and it didn't work, if you've tried launching a product and it didn't work, if you took a chance on something and it didn't work, or it failed miserably, then that's okay. That's history. Turn the page and go for it again,
Yep.
using everything that you picked up.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. Powerful words again. Now, turning points or point, when you look back at your entire life, Stephen, everything that you have so far, your journey to date, can you pinpoint a point that changed everything for you, or is it more of a collection of moments in your case?
Gosh, I've had, as you say, I've had an interesting
Yes.
life. Yeah, I would actually say, and it's probably around that 18-year-old self.
Mm-hmm.
My mom had a conversation with me, and she said, don't just let life happen to you. Don't let it like a wave wash over you.
Oh, yes.
You should happen to life. Take control.
Wow.
And that has stuck with me. Now, my mom's passed a number of years. That has stuck with me so powerfully.
I reckon you should repeat that,
how I look at
Stephen.
things.
I reckon you should repeat that one for our audience. That is
Oh,
so powerful. Yeah.
I don't know if I can say it as well as she did, but basically she told me not to let life happen to me. I should happen to life. And it's just that moment changed everything.
No, I love that. I'm gonna type it up, print it out, and stick it on my wall. All right. Now, everyone has their own definition of success. So, what does success mean to you, and how do you define it, Stephen, in both life and business?
Oh, okay. So business first.
Mm-hmm.
I get to borrow from Tim Ferriss, where he talks about being able to go on a boat for a month and come back and still have the business going strong. Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm very lucky to have a fabulous right-hand person named Megan. She is brilliant. She's got great judgment. She's hardworking. When you have people that are good, surround yourself with good people and give them every tool you can so that they can get better. If you do that, then you have been successful, and you can go on that boat. Whether you're doing products or whether you're just building up a team of house painters that can go out to any house and do a great job, you're successful if you can do that. That's business. Personally, I think it comes back to the gratitude after my heart attack. I love watching my students succeed. It's just absolutely incredible. Because of NDAs and such like that, I can't talk about very many of them. But I mean, when these things hit the market, people are going to have their mouths drop open and say, wow, that is incredible. We're not just talking pioneer products. We're talking pioneer categories. We're talking inventions that will just become a normal thing that people expect and will see every day, that start from everyday normal people who are getting those wonderful brain pathways open and thinking of ideas and saying, pow, let's make it happen.
Wow. Love it. So leading on to that, in your opinion, Stephen, why people don't succeed? I mean, you've been around the block and achieved a lot of success yourself. What's the difference from someone who is successful to someone who is not? I mean, do you see any common traits?
Yeah, I had yesterday I got a phone call from a friend of mine I haven't talked to in 2.5 years. Back in the 80s, he was a very, very well-known rock and roller with gold and platinum albums and stuff like that. And he became, everyone talked about him, MTV and stuff like that, and he and his group. And it's like, oh, these guys, brand new, you got to listen to them and everything else. But not brand new. Years and years of hard work. They were very, very talented musicians and writers. And he and Paul had been touring with, what's his name? I I think they were touring with Zappa at the time, but maybe it was someone else.
Okay.
But anyway, Alice Cooper, right? Alice Cooper.
Oh, Alice Cooper.
But
All right.
all of this work that they put into it, this hard work, and then suddenly, that's when they became an overnight success. I've seen it again and again. I've also seen people who think that they just want to be successful, and that's all it takes is wanting to be successful. I think the difference is whether or not you're going to put in that hard work. Don't think that people who just succeed and make it look easy got there because it was easy. It's not easy. So put in the hard work, and that's the difference between those people who succeed and those people who fail.
Yeah. Nah, thanks for those great insights, Stephen. Now, the world is rapidly changing, and I guess will continue to evolve. My question here is, what values do you think are important to instill into the younger generation these days, to give them the, let's say, competitive edge?
I'll build on what I just said. Hard work. Don't look for excuses not to put in the hard work. Now, I'm going to create some controversy here because there's a lot of push these days saying, well, kids don't need to go to college because they're going to learn everything they can just by doing whatever. And I'm a big believer that if you have the ability to go to college, absolutely do that. If you want to be an entrepreneur and run your own company, and hopefully it's going to be a large company one day, spend some time working at a large company. See what that's like. Spend some time working at a retailer if you're going to be doing retail products. Let's see what that's like. Don't look for excuses not to put in the work. Look for opportunities to get those experiences, even if it's something that you don't eventually do. The learning just by doing things is going to be so valuable in ways that you have no idea today how they will come back and impact you and your life and your business later on.
So
you're never going to regret making yourself better.
Yeah, 100%. Hands up for me on that one, Stephen. Now, I'm just curious, leading on from that, about your views on inventions. And you sort of mentioned inventions a bit earlier on and how important they are. Being someone who loves developing and selling products, where do you see the opportunities, I guess, when this pandemic is over?
I get frustrated when I hear people say, "Oh, everything's already been invented. There's nothing more. Everything's just been done. It's a copy."
Yeah.
And in fact, I also get frustrated. I get controversy for everyone who's selling Amazon FBA. I think that is a short-sighted method of building up your business, because basically what you're doing is you're copying what someone else has done, hopefully making it better, but still you're building off of what someone else has done. Inventions are really what take us forward. There's more risk in them, but the more that you take something and you take that leap, that's how things grow. That's how you get, was Facebook a copy of MySpace? No, it was just another way of approaching this, online community, and done in a completely different way. When I was at Microsoft, we had, here's a great story about an invention. The division that I was business manager in, worldwide retail sales and marketing, we oversaw the Xbox. And the Nintendo Wii came out, a controller that's, in your hand, and you can move around. We're no longer stuck on this little handheld thing. And my boss was mandated to come up with a response to the Nintendo Wii. Could we have come up with a handheld wand? Absolutely. There were dozens of different ones around at the time. But our Microsoft R&D said, we are working on something better. So we didn't respond right away. We looked at what customers wanted, which was the experience of not holding a controller in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
Customers didn't say, hey, we want the experience of holding a wand in our hand.
Yeah.
We want something that you don't have to hold anything. And R&D came up with this incredible product, which we ended up calling the Connect. And Connect allowed you to interact with your game just with gestures.
Mm-hmm.
That was an invention, and it was an invention that addressed what customers were saying that they wanted. And then obviously grew way beyond Xbox because all of the hand gestured TVs.
Yeah.
And I saw something where scientists are using it to measure the growth of little plants. I mean, it's all out there. Inventions are what push us forward, and there's no underestimating them. And please, nobody believe the saying that everything's been invented. Life would be too sad if that was the case.
That is true. That is true. I totally agree with that one as well. So, Stephen, let's say if you were starting a business right now, what problem would you be setting out to, I guess, solve, and why?
I think that I would be looking at everything people have gone through in this last year in COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a real challenge of people feeling lonely during lockdowns, being kids and their grandparents not connecting. Mm-hmm. I think that there are so many opportunities there, not just in products, but in new ways of approaching things, of being able to address a pandemic and a lockdown, and just the difference in distances between people. Mm-hmm. I think there has got to be some fascinating, compelling opportunities there. And I think when good creative people get together and figure that out, we're going to have new things coming up on the horizon over the next 2 or 3 years, whether it's augmented reality or virtual reality or a way of just giving grandma a hug when your distances. That's where I think people are looking for new opportunities. Those problems should be solved, and I think they will be solved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to actually see what happens, like you were saying, in the next 2-3 years with regards to new technology and what's coming. Awesome, awesome. Now, so what's exciting for Steven Selikoff at the moment, and the Product Development Academy? What are you doing to position yourself moving forward?
I think it's repositioning.
Repositioning.
Repositioning. When I started this, I was very lucky to have a friend who partnered up with me and convinced me to actually share in a more structured way everything that I've learned over the years. Mm-hmm. But it was all focused towards Amazon FBA sellers, saying, hey, there's another way. Think about retailers, think about unique products and so on.
Yeah.
And I would say over the last 6 months or so that Product Development Academy has become more and more well-known outside of the Amazon FBA area. Mm-hmm. I've been lucky to work with folks from a big TV show we have here for inventors and entrepreneurs. I've been lucky enough to work with some students at top Ivy League college that's coming up with products and ideas. And it's really exciting because so many people have an idea inside their head. Yes. And they'll say, oh, if I could only make this happen. And they don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. It's almost like I can't do that. And it's not that they can't. They just don't know the steps to take. So I love the fact that more people are coming into this that are not just Amazon sellers, but people who are dreamers, people who are garage inventors, people who never thought it was possible. And it's just a case of, it is. You just needed to know what to do. And that's so cool.
Most definitely, most definitely. So this sort of leads me to my next question, Stephen. What is your legacy and what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, gosh. and my products are silly, so I don't want to be remembered for the products. I am not a religious person.
Hmm.
I probably should be more than I am. I'm not really a spiritual person, but I believe God puts people in your path for a reason.
Hmm.
And without getting all, whatever,
Yep.
I think if I want to be remembered for anything, it's that I was able to help those people that God has put in my path throughout life
Hmm.
and make an impact. Like
Excellent.
that's
Yeah.
I know I'm getting
I
pretty
love
deep
that
here.
one. No, it's good. I love it. I love it. And I'm pretty sure our listeners are getting a lot from your insights. And now I just got the next two questions actually, Stephen, more light-hearted, I guess you can say. And I just love the responses I get for these. So the first one is, if you could have a billboard, all right, with anything on it, what would it be and why?
All right. So if I had a billboard with anything on it, it depends. If I was just being, if I was being a good boy, I would say enjoy today.
Yep.
If I was being a bad boy, I'd say look behind you now
So true.
and see how many people turn around.
Yep. Love it. I love that one. Okay, and now, what superpower do you wish you had and why?
Oh, um, oh gosh, there's all sorts of wonderful ones. Invulnerability, um, probably um, telekinesis.
Ooh, I haven't had that one before.
Telekinesis. So I can like
Awesome.
lay in bed and just like get, my food brought to me just through the air.
That's a good one.
Uh,
That's a good one. No, I haven't had that one. I like it. I
yeah,
like
I'm
it.
lazy.
No, I like it. I like it. Totally amazing, Stephen. And, thanks so much. Unfortunately, we have to work towards wrapping up and super mindful of your time. Remarkable shares and words of wisdom in both life and business. And really do appreciate your authenticity and willingness to share. I just have two final questions. The first
Absolutely.
is, I guess, where can people find out more about yourself and your academy?
Yeah, it's easy. It's productdevelopmentacademy.com.
Mm-hmm.
So that's online, and email is Steven@productdevelopmentacademy.com.
Excellent.
And then on Facebook, just go for a Facebook group that's called Product Development Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And my assistant is putting together our Instagram more. There's very little in there, but that might change over the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think it's actually Product Dev Academy. So,
No worries.
because product development was too long. But if you just look up Product Development Academy, you'll find me. There's all sorts of ways of contacting me and so on.
Yeah.
Simple.
Excellent. I'll definitely put some links in the show notes below. And secondly, what parting words of wisdom would you like to impart for our listeners?
Well, if you are considering developing a product, if you're considering launching a product and there's something inside of you that says, what can I do to make this different, to make it better, to make it separate itself from anything else that's out there, then the words of wisdom are really simple. Go for it. Go for it. Not only go for it, but if you're stuck, go out to Product Development Academy, click a thing. You can set up a 20-minute call with me for free, and I'll chat with you and help point out, where you might be able to go for help and some direction and stuff like that. Just go for it. There's nothing worse than having the regret to sit over a few beers and tell your buddies, hey, I thought of Post-it notes and look what they're doing now.
Yeah. And for our audiences out there, and I definitely recommend, just check out Steven's website, and book in that 20-minute chat. So, and again, incredible insights and learnings into your world as an entrepreneur in life and business, Steven. It will be great, as you said, earlier, to catch up in person one day once flights are more frequent. So thanks again, Steven. Really appreciate your time. Stay well, be well, and take care.
Thank you very much. You too.
Thank you. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. You can find me at 10-x.com and also on social media at iam.tacklee. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode. If you're enjoying this podcast, please do make sure you subscribe and take a minute to leave us a review. Thank you.
YOLO, YOLO, it's our show. Oh, oh, there's